Hello and welcome to Toouglyforradio, where today we are celebrating the landmark 0 subscribers. My name is Craig and today we'll be looking at Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. Now, before you ask, no, this is not the Johnny Depp one, because that film is a travesty and I refuse to accept it exists. So we will be focusing on the Gene Wilder masterpiece / Exhibit A in Why Roald Dahl Hates Children. Before we begin, I think it's important to remember that this film was made in a different time. A time when people made horror films for kids, and that was okay. Think The Dark Crystal, Mark Twain's Mysterious Stranger, Watership Down. Nowadays the closest thing to a horror film for kids is Hotel Transylvania, and the scariest thing about that is the fact that Adam Stanley still didn't work. Anyway, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, with its bright colours and a whimsical name like that, how could this not be a great film for kids? An interesting note is that they changed the name of the film to Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory because Charlie was a racial slur used for the Vietnamese during the Vietnam War, which came out about the same time as this film, and understandably the filmmakers wanted to distance themselves between the racial slurs used for Vietnamese and the migrant workers that Willy Wonka had in his factory. Remember that? Remember how Willy Wonka talks about going to a foreign land and coming across a tribe of people who he then rescues? If it's not obvious by the tone of my voice, I'm doing quotation marks here. He comes across people that he rescues and brings them back to work in his factory in exchange for all the chocolate they can eat. And that's not even the worst part about the Oompa Loompas. In the original script, they weren't orange, they were African dwarfs. Add that to the fact that he doesn't pay them to work in his factory, and that he transported an entire people into America. And do you think he did that legally? Coming from a guy whose business practices include having a tunnel of horrors in his chocolate river, I doubt it. And while we're on the subject of the chocolate river, can we talk about the fact that after Augustus Gloop is almost drowned and then suffocated in the chocolate river, which I can only assume is scalding hot, because for chocolate to remain a liquid like that, surely it has to be boiling hot. Anyway, after the little fat boy is punished for being a greedy little fat boy by almost being drowned in the burning hot chocolate river and then suffocated in the vacuum tube, they get on a boat and sail down the chocolate river. But do you notice that there is exactly enough seats on the boat for the amount of people left? That's right, Willy Wonka knew exactly what he was doing. And before you can say, but how would he have known Augustus was going to do that? Remember earlier in the film when Charlie runs into What's-His-Face Slugworth on the street? He congratulates him on getting the last golden ticket, literally minutes after he finds it in the sewer. Clearly, Willy Wonka is able to track down and spy on the kids who will be coming to his factory. That gives him ample time to find out those kids' vices and set traps specifically tailored for their individual weaknesses. How else can you explain an entirely edible Candyland inside of his factory? Or the fact that he has a teleporting shrink ray disguised as a TV camera when he's got a kid coming who just happens to be obsessed with TV. You think he's doing this to create a childlike sense of wonder and magic? Not bloody likely! And if that's not enough to convince you that he's doing this intentionally, then what about the fact that after every child is punished, the Oompa Loompas come out and sing about it? What, do you think these songs were improvised? Willy Wonka's not making any effort to stop them from literally singing and dancing each time a child gets maimed in his factory. I remember watching this as a kid. The Oompa Loompas always terrified me and I was never really sure why. I think it's because for some reason I always thought the Oompa Loompas were eating the naughty kids and their parents whenever they took them out of the factory. I mean, to be honest, it kind of makes sense. They go on their entire lives eating nothing but chocolate. I mean, after a while, even human flesh would start to look pretty good. And then at one stage, they even turned a girl into a giant piece of fruit. I mean, it's no bloody wonder. Look at them. They're all turning orange from bloody scurvy. In case you're still not sold on the whole Willy Wonka knew what he was doing thing, then remember at the end of the film where he flips out at Charlie and Grandpa? Like, 1 minute he's fine, and the next minute he's all, "You lose! Good day, sir!" You know why he snapped like that? Simple. Because he didn't expect there to be any survivors. Charlie and Grandpa Joe were meant to be chopped into ribbons by that big bloody extractor fan thing. And now they're going to walk out of this factory. And they're going to tell people what they saw there. And Wonka can't have that. So what does he do? He friggin' makes Charlie the new CEO of his company. And then he puts them in a glass elevator and friggin' blasts off through the roof. Does this not sound like somebody who's panicking to you? And don't even get me started on Uncle Joe. That old coot deserved to be chopped into ribbons. I mean, he sits in bed all day making his daughter, a single mother, look after him and 3 other randos who I have no idea who they are. Like, who are those people? They're supposed to be like her mum and her dad and Charlie's dad's mum and dad? Where's Charlie's dad? Anyway, so he's all bedridden and decrepit until someone's like, "Hey, Uncle Joe, want to come on a tour of a chocolate factory?" And then he literally leaps out of the bed and into song and dance. And that reminds me, Uncle Joe went to the factory with the promise of a lifetime supply of chocolate, but what would have happened if the other kids on that tour had shown just the slightest bit of restraint and they'd all made it to the end of the tour? Would Wonka have made them all CEOs of his company, or would he have just tried to shove them all into the glass rocket ship and blast them into the sun? So in summary, Roald Dahl hates kids, and Willy Wonka's a bad bloke who shouldn't be allowed near kids. Wow, this got dark. I didn't mean for it to get this dark. So anyway, if you like this video, make sure to subscribe, and if you didn't like this video, then subscribe anyway. Maybe the next one will be better. Also, don't forget to follow us on Facebook and Instagram, but don't follow us on Google+. I don't think anyone has a Google+ anymore. Anyway, I've been Craig, and you've been listening to Too Ugly for Radio. Peace!